27 dresses. You gotta be kidding me.
Welcome to Sinema Scrutiny.
I'm Heidi.
I'm Thera.
I'm Mel.
And I'm Sam. And we're Benny and the Jets. Today we will be reviewing 2008's 27 Dresses, directed by Anne Fletcher.
Overview.
The costume designer was either blind or hated everybody that was in this cast with a burning passion. Mm-hmm. Why was she allowed to dress anybody like this? Specifically, Jane's work party dress was so ugly. First of all, it's like vomit green, and then it has like measuring tape as the border, and then little like ugly gem things, and I don't even want to know what shoes she was wearing, because I'm sure it's not gonna help.
And she thought that George was gonna fall all over her in that too.
He was gonna fall off a cliff to get away from you.
Yeah, for a girl who really loves dresses, that was not the move.
Yeah, for a dress connoisseur.
Yeah.
This is the content we're putting out?
What I wanted to do ever since I was a child. Design dresses, be in dresses, wear dresses, and you wore that.
Just a bad representation of women altogether.
I just want to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not in trouble, but you will be when I find you.
The title in itself is not misleading, but in a sense it is, because when I first watched this movie, I went into it like blind. I didn't watch the trailer or anything, and you think it's gonna be more about the dresses. The dresses are in it, but like you think it'll be like, oh, she's into fashion.
Yeah.
But it's really not at all that.
No. She's clearly has nothing to do with fashion.
Yeah.
Stop! Who are you? Fashion, please.
She wouldn't even recognize it if it hit her in the face.
Yeah.
Katherine Heigl is such a good actor, and her and James Marsden, like, chemistry, they picked them so perfectly. I think it's one of the only rom-coms I've seen where I didn't cringe at all throughout the whole movie, which is super hard to find, surprisingly, especially for the 2000s.
Like at any point, because there's always something.
It's like that would never happen, you know? But in this, it's like fairly believable if men were romantic.
Oh.
Anyway.
That was violent. I want you to apologize.
I'm sorry, men.
I'm sorry, women.
I liked their bickering, though, because we were talking about this last night. Like, they're not actually hating each other, which is a common misconception, because, like, some people are just like, that's not romance. That's actually just toxic, and you two need to get far away from each other. But this was, like, cute bickering and not in a cringy sort of way, which I really like.
The enemies to lovers trope has been so misconstrued. I feel nowadays it feels like an absolutely toxic person, like you said, and they're like, oh, haha, but they fall in love. It's like, but he was literally calling her names and like being very, very rude to her.
Or like,
so there's no reason to root for
and
him.
like fantasy movies where they're actually like trying to kill each other. Like actually stab each other multiple times.
Aww.
And they're like, but like
they get together.
But they made eye contact while he stabbed her, though.
But in this, it's charming, and it goes from him just being a pessimistic person to him being not that, and realigning and being like, oh, I love you, and the world is brighter again.
Do they ever actually say I love you? Is that at the end?
It's implied that they love each other because wedding, but I don't think we ever actually hear them say.
I don't know.
I think she actually did. She was on the stage, and she was like, and I think there's a good chance that I'm falling in love with you. I don't remember if he said it back, though.
Red flag.
But even before her, like, I still, you know, when you can tell that someone says I love you by the way that they say something, like, that's how they mean it. When he said,
For the first time in a really long time, I wanted to be there for somebody.
that was it right there. That's even better than I love you.
That monologue, like the I'm sorry monologue, is very swoon-worthy.
Absolutely.
Like, watching it from already being married, this movie, because I've seen it before I was married and then after, and it's a different experience because you watch it from like, oh, I can't wait to get married, and oh, this is so romantic, to like, oh, I had that, I'm still very much in love.
Oh,
I hope so.
But you watch it from this place of contentment, and like, you're not like, oh, I can't wait to experience that too. You're like, oh, I got to experience that. And it's so sweet and romantic to hear him talk like that, because you also relate to that and you're like, I had that and I love it. I keep saying had. I have that.
Blink twice if like there's something you need to tell us after we're done here.
No.
You know, it was romantic until it wasn't.
I have that and it's great and everyone should get married.
That's the takeaway, kids, is get married.
A lot of rom-coms, they don't actually get married by the end.
Yeah.
Which we really don't talk about enough. And also a lot of, I guess, stereotypes about marriage is like, you don't have fun anymore when you get
Right.
married. And that's just not the case.
Gotta
I don't
get
think
back
you
to the
actually
old
like your
ball and
partner
chain.
if that's what you're saying. Not the ball and chain
No.
bit. No.
Disgusting.
This is gonna be cheesy, so just get your cheese caps on.
I'm not
I've
lactose
got it.
intolerant.
I've
so
got
I'm
it
good.
already.
Put on your, wait,
Put your cheese caps on.
go.
Girl, she came in the door with me.
Your cheese cap?
Yeah.
Cheese.
This isn't very lactose intolerant friendly, so sorry
I'm
guys.
sorry.
Sorry, I'm not being inclusive enough. Anyway, I'm about to be cheesy. Put on your cheese cap.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've got it.
Okay. Marriage is not the end; it's the beginning.
Preach, preach, preach.
That's what I was gonna say. It's the start of your adventure. It's not the goal you worked up to and then now everything's over. It's you got there and it's fantastic and you have a great party and it's your launching point to the rest of your romantic, wonderful, filled life.
It's kind of just like a certain chapter and then here's another one. It's not like end of the book.
Yeah.
I can't ever be happy again.
Not
Do you
allowed
actually like who you're with?
to write a new one or anything.
Like they say in the movie, if you only want a wedding and not a marriage, then you shouldn't be getting married.
Yeah, and that's where I'm gonna struggle. I'm not trying to take it back to this, but Judy Greer has been in so many different rom-coms and she's always the best person, but she's also never the main character.
We need that
Somehow. She is like a great friend in most movies. At 13 going on 30 though, she is not a very good person. But The Wedding Planner is another really funny one that she's in, but oh my gosh, she's actually perfect and I love her in this movie so much.
I love how you said you didn't want to bring it back to what we're supposed to be talking about.
I don't want to bring it back to the serious stuff, but here I go. Yeah. I don't want to make an actual
Well, I had
point.
to. Catherine's watching.
I like Katherine Heigl. She is in many things that I enjoy, and she's a good actress. There's a lot of good actresses that came from the early 2000s movies.
That's true.
Me, for example.
I originally saw her in Grey's Anatomy, and I like Grey's Anatomy.
She's also in Suits. Somebody that I hope is a good actor is whoever played Tess, because if she's like that in real life, I better not see her on the street.
Isn't she in The Proposal? Malin Ackerman.
I hope for your sake that you were a good actress, because I've never hated somebody more, except for maybe, just maybe, the girl who plays Charlotte in H2O, if anybody else has watched it.
Sadly, no. I'm a fraud.
You guys don't get to play mermaids with me.
Oh, speaking of mermaids, when she's showing off the one dress that isn't that bad, and he goes,
Kind of look like a shiny mermaid.
as if it's supposed to be an insult, like, to the dress. I'm like, how is calling someone a shiny mermaid a bad thing?
That's my lifelong
That's
dream.
so childish. Can't believe you called her a mermaid.
When someone's like, I want to grow up and be a singer, I want to be a freaking shiny mermaid.
Yeah.
We do have to take a moment to talk about how terrible Tess is. As a person, as a sister, as a fiance, just all encompassing the definition of pure evil.
She's horrible.
We start at the beginning of time.
Yeah. God created the heavens and the earth.
Let there be light and all that.
All that jazz.
The first awful thing I think she did in the movie for me was like just insulting Jane about the wedding things that she collects, and she's like,
I was going to recycle them. Well, excuse me, into what, wallpaper?
she's terrible because she just expects Jane to do everything for her. There's no end to that really, because I think that's like the only thing in the movie that I don't feel like they properly tie up, because she's like, you have no idea how hard my life is. That's not an apology.
She uses it as an excuse. She's like, I was just trying to be like you. Girl, that is not I'm sorry. Just
Try not
because-
being selfish then.
Yes. No apology, no nothing. I just wanted to be like you. That doesn't make me feel sorry for you.
And then
you
she-
have a good older sister. Yeah. Why would, of course you want to be like her, but that doesn't mean that you have.
It doesn't mean that you are.
Yeah.
And then she was... Whoa.
Stereo.
At the end of that, she's like, you don't have to take care of me. You literally volunteered her to plan your wedding in 3 weeks. And she's like, I know you can pull it together. Die, okay?
And on top of that, she's also staying with her.
Yeah. Bringing George over.
To make out on her couch.
Yeah.
Luckily, that's all we saw.
Yeah.
There's probably more.
Oy.
Oh, and then George is evil number 2.
Mm-hmm.
He's almost worse because at the end where he says,
You never say no, which I love.
shut up.
That's not a safe sentence to say at all.
You might be very nice on the surface, but also you have a lot of stuff to work out. Just because you have a pretty smile and you're nice doesn't mean that you can treat people and use them to get work done.
In my professional opinion, he's really not even that attractive.
No.
Like, what do you see in him that you do not see right in front of you in Kevin? Okay?
He's different in this movie compared to The Holiday because the first time I watched it, and every time I watch this movie from now on, when he appears on screen the first time, the first word that appears in my brain is thick. Like, his neck is just thick, and like his head is
Stocky.
wide, yes. And he doesn't give that impression in The Holiday, so I want to know what happened. I'm not saying he's fat, I'm not saying anything like that, I'm saying like he just elongated himself. Like,
His
what
bones
happened?
are thick. And the thing is, he kind of just looks like if you took Ben Affleck and copy and pasted an image from him into Word document, but it didn't like keep the size proportion, and so it's like spread out really weird and makes it shorter.
Yeah. That's so true.
That's a good description.
I have to take it back to Tess, I'm sorry, because we continue on the timeline.
Yeah. There's so much more, actually.
She says she's not coming to the work party, then shows up and gets all lovey-dovey with the boss, and they immediately start dating. She starts bringing him over to Jane's house, which is so weird, without asking her about it or anything. Also, like, George is just as evil, don't get me wrong, but like, Tess should know better because she's a girl and she's also her sister.
Her sister was a witch, right?
That's my biggest thing. She is her sister. It's not even just a friend acting this way, it's her sister.
Yeah.
Like that, it breaks so many rules and codes.
The code is more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules.
Obviously, when you're friends, it's a lot like having a sister, but nothing is gonna fully encapsulate growing up in the same room with someone and hating them, but also loving them at the same time.
And Jane saying that she practically raised her. So, like, they've spent a ton of time together. Tess should have a little more respect for her because she's been such a mother figure their entire time growing up. And then they get engaged super quickly. George does not ask for Jane's blessing, which bugs me so much because he should. First of all, he knew Jane before he knew Tess, and, like, didn't even tell her that he was gonna propose to her. That's incredibly disrespectful.
Absolutely.
And then they want to plan this super quick wedding in 3 weeks. Then she lies to George, even though I don't like him that much. It's, you know, it's still like you're just straight up lying to get a man.
Yeah.
And he's not that attractive.
No, he's not.
He's literally just a business owner.
Not that even if he was attractive, it would make it better.
No.
No, the principle's still the same, but like if he's super hot, I could be like, okay.
I get it.
Maybe.
You're like, been there, I'm sorry.
But then she cuts up her mother's wedding dress that Jane wanted first.
And
She steals everything.
It's older sibling birthright, and so in this instance, the dad sucks too.
Yes!
Oh my gosh.
Why is he such a Jane hater?
Ugh, as soon as I saw him bring that dress out, I was like, what the actual heckin' are you doing?
In front of Jane.
Yeah.
And she's just sitting there like, oh yeah, I have to suffer while the person that I have a little crush on are engaged to my sister. And then on top of it all, my dad comes in and is like, oh my gosh, Tess, like, here's your mother's wedding dress. When she was hating on it, like, not, like, 5 scenes ago. She's like,
I mean, the synthetic lace and the inverted box pleats.
Yeah, and we already talked about the fact that by the end of the movie, she still didn't actually say sorry. She just tried to justify her behavior, and all of a sudden they're getting along again.
Yeah. The fact that Jane even felt a little bit bad after the slideshow incident, like, she's such a good person, but girl, you just, like, totally clocked her. Walk away, be like, yeah, I just did that. Don't apologize.
What time is it? It's clocked time. She did it.
It's clobbering time.
So much of me hates Tess.
Absolutely. This is her head.
Like a grape.
So much of me hates Tess, and I'm the person that feels bad for, like, everything.
Same.
Like, when I was little and we read Peter Rabbit, I felt bad because he ate too many vegetables and he couldn't fit out of the hole in the shed and he was all by himself and he needed his mommy. When you should just feel like, well, you ate too much and you made your bed.
Right.
And that's how everyone else felt, but I was like, oh my god. But in this movie, I'm not like that. I'm like, Tess, I hate you. I don't care if you had low self-esteem. I don't care. You are so awful and you need a attitude adjustment.
Absolutely.
You need a personality adjustment. You need to relearn old habits, and you've just gotta fix some things in your life, girl, because you're aggravating.
You can't take it back, especially the mother's wedding dress thing. And that's what upsets me so much. She's like, we saved you the rest of it. Did you just say that?
As someone who has a parent who died, you can't replace that kind of stuff. And she didn't even ask.
The only reason she wanted it was because Jane wanted it.
And then she didn't even see the issue. She didn't even see that it was a problem.
Yeah, and she said to her when she first got the dress from the dad, like, you can wear it after me, first of all, how dare you.
Yeah.
Then to be specific about who did it, and she was like,
Technically, Mariella did.
shut your mouth.
Anyway, Tess is awful, and I'm glad that we have another character to focus on.
Yeah. She goes in the box with Fat Tom Hanks and Ed Rooney, okay?
Speaking of horrible boxes, the ring box that George proposes to Tess with, the ring is off kilter, which may be a testament to, like, their relationship and how it ends up driving off a highway. Yeah. My only point is that the ring being off kilter bothers me a lot.
Oh, and the proposal looked so stupid. Yeah. It looked the worst. And he always is wearing tan suits for what reason? They've never been a good thing ever.
No.
Who approved
No.
this being in this film?
He's like, oh, she's
not the one. She's not the one.
Well, if you had eyes, you would see that Tess is also not the one. Pack your bags.
Pack your bags. To Tess. That was to Tess.
Yeah.
And George. Leave town together. Skip town.
Honestly, yeah, they kind of deserved each other. They were both not equally horrible, but horrible.
The fact that they don't focus on George and Tess at all and just on Jane trying to get out of there and like slowly like trying to dodge the...
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
The pace of the movie was actually set up pretty well too for what it actually contains, because I don't care about George and Tess at all, but it's considered like two love stories going on at one time. And also like the question of, is Jane still gonna end up with George at the end? And I'm glad they actually tied that up and she actually got to kiss him and know that she wasn't interested in him at all.
Love when they flesh stuff like that out. The whole movie is like funny for no reason.
Well, there is reason, but
it's just so subtle, and the writers and Katherine Heigl and James Marsden did such a good job playing their characters. It's so relatable and hilarious.
And it feels like real acquaintance to lovers. It's not like, oh, I just blatantly hate you, but now all of a sudden we're gonna kiss. I don't know. I've never felt that way in my real life. Like, I'm so angry at you, let's make out. I'm gonna call the police instead.
There's this thing that's sold where, like, if you argue well with this person, then you, like, have chemistry with them and you love them. Does that make sense?
Or
like,
we could just be normal human beings and, like, have a healthy chat. That could be chemistry as well.
Exactly. The music industry, the movie industry, the show industry, everyone just says that if you're not constantly fighting with this person, it's not the right relationship for you. Where that's not how it really is in real life. And this movie plays that really well.
I would rather have comfort and peace than like constantly be fighting. That's not a reasonable
Having
relationship.
that fire.
Yeah,
like-
they actually talk about that in How I Met Your Mother. Comment down below if you watch How I Met Your Mother. James Marsden says that to her. I want to be there for somebody. That is love right there. It's not like, I want to argue with you for the rest of my life. That's stupid.
Every time I hear his little monologue, I get...
Yeah.
It's like exactly what the beginning of love feels like. You can just tell how much he cares.
Yeah.
And I love it.
It pans out, and she's standing next to the ugliest car on the street. I was like, was the car in budget, or did somebody just park there and you couldn't find who it was and get him to move? Also, can we talk about the fact that every single movie I've seen James Marsden in, he has a thing for gingers? The Notebook, 27 Dresses, Enchanted. Did he have a little crush in IHOP? Not IHOP. it's just
I've never seen him in an IHOP, but if you do, let me know.
comment down below if you know James and if he's at the IHOP.
James, we know you're watching.
I said it so confidently too. I'm so upset.
He's in all the movies with
Sonic.
the little
Does he have
animal friends.
Does he have a thing for a ginger in iSonic?
Tess's wardrobe.
Oh, capris? When are capris ever acceptable?
They're not.
Especially on someone that I hate. You and all the capris in the world can get buried together. Alive.
They're like not even like cutesy little capris. They're like tight.
They just look like
legging
your
capris.
pants don't fit you.
But they're not even like, they're shorter than capris.
Yeah.
Why would you wear unbelievably short pants, and why would you wear them with such an interesting sleeveless top?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
The tan tank top combo with the capris.
And then
the
she's
over
always
sweater.
wearing super tall heels.
Yeah.
With capris!
Yeah. Well, why? And they're like right below the knee. They're like Bermuda shorts
Yes, that's
and
what I was
capris
thinking.
together. They're like Bermuda prees. And she wears her Bermuda prees with heels.
And it's horrible. I hope that she dressed Tess like that on purpose to enrage us.
Yeah.
So
Even more.
she can validate herself just a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, it's not good if it was trying to make her look good, because it's horrible.
Her and her tan, and George and all his tan ugly suits.
Did they like just get together and be like, yeah, tan's our couple color?
They would be insufferable like that too. They'd be like, "What's the color that represents
The
us?"
color for our wedding is tan and beige and really, really dark cream. The only outfit of Jane's that I think I actually liked was the one at the bar. And her curly hair is so pretty.
It is.
Missed opportunity to have that the entire movie. What did you guys think of her wedding dress though?
Underwhelming, but it looked good on her, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was
It's classy, but at what
more.
cost?
Yeah.
I was expecting more.
She did get the lace that she wanted.
Right.
Not from Tess, because
No.
God forbid.
Yeah, for someone who really, really likes dresses, it's like you could give us a little more.
Yeah, she
but,
didn't
you
even
know.
have an underwater wedding.
It's giving
Yeah, what the heck?
Enchanted, the last dress.
Oh my gosh! Don't even get me started
I
about Enchanted.
understand the point, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. You could have gone with a different modern looking dress. It was the ugliest color, purple. Pick a different shade of purple.
Yes.
And it doesn't flatter Amy Adams at all.
No.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
And her hair did not look good. I'm sorry. Her head shape is not very good for having like a super tight Egg City Central. That's the mayor of Egg City.
Which is why her fluffy after rain hair was so pretty.
Yep.
Like
It
we
suited her
finally
very well.
saw her with the volume that she.
The volume she deserves. Okay.
It makes me wonder: is that like her natural hair? Does she have wavy hair like that naturally? And if so, does it dry like that naturally? Because
That's
it makes
amazing.
sense. Like it makes sense if she looks so good if that's her natural hair. But I have no idea.
Speaking of hair, we mentioned that Kevin's hair kind of looks like a Lego piece. Cole from Ninjago came to mind. So like. Attractive
gonna
meets
make a live
attractive. Okay, it's just attractive central.
Cole is the best.
He's the one. He's the one. Okay.
Earth baby.
When I was
All the way.
when I was a youngster,
Are you
I
gonna
was-
have his Earth baby? Is that what or are you his Earth baby?
Either one works.
Yeah,
I really
a little
do.
bit of both that makes the world go round.
Jane's black dresses are honestly kind of dangerous. Like, first of all, she looks fantastic in them. Finally, a good choice by the costume department.
I bet you she just made that choice on her own. Katherine Heigl was like, I'm tired of y'all making me look like this.
This is mine. But also, she just absolutely demolishes her sister's reputation all in one go.
That's probably one of my favorite scenes. Pedro, just on top of it, was like, let me just put the cherry on top of this right now. See me in the lobby.
Pedro is iconic. Let's just be real.
Singing Shakira while he cleans the house. Accurate.
Yeah. Those hips don't lie.
I think the only moment of like actual embarrassment I had through the whole movie was when Tess was like, "Hola, Pedro!"
Read the room.
How many line dances at weddings do you guys actually know? Because they mentioned YMCA, which pretty much everybody knows. And then the electric slide was in there. Cupid Shuffle, maybe?
And that's what it kind of looked like, yeah.
They did Macarena too.
Ah, yes. And all to a Michael Jackson song. Genius.
Except for Benny and the Jets. I don't know any of the songs outside of this movie. But it's so dancey and fun.
It's very danceable. Like, you just want to, okay.
Obviously, a lot of people listen to Michael Jackson, but I feel like people don't know that song until they see that movie, and then they're like, oh, okay, I guess it's good.
And to be fair, I'm the kind of person that doesn't know a song by a name ever. Like, I'm always
So
the
real.
kind of person that hears a song and is like, I know this. I have no idea what it's called or who wrote it, but I know this.
And then when you try to explain it to people, you're like, the song.
Yes.
And then they do the,
Yep, I'm that annoying person. So
no. Make sure you go out and watch 27 Dresses, everybody.
Shameless plug for a movie we did not make.
It's such a great movie, but I want to gatekeep James Marsden, because obviously nobody knows who he is, and he's not some famous actor. He's just for me.
No.
He did this movie specifically for me.
obviously he's a famous actor, but he's not.
Yeah. I feel he's definitely one of those. I feel holding space for James Marsden.
I feel like what Glenn Powell is to people today, James Marsden has always been to me.
Favorite scenes.
So I think obviously everybody's number one scene is the Benny and the Jets bar scene. It's just perfect because she says something about a wedding beforehand that she loved. As they get more and more into drinking, which we don't support, by the way, he gets like more and more open about it, and he's always been like, oh, wedding hater, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like,
I cried like a baby at the Keller wedding.
and I'm like, no! Short story long, James Marsden is perfect.
That's all we have to say about this movie, actually. You can just cut it there.
Well, and just like the misinterpreting of the lyrics, because everybody's done that a million times today.
She's got electric boobs. Boobs.
I love when a movie takes a song and creates an iconic moment around it, because then a lot of times after you watch that movie and you hear that song outside of the movie, you're like, all I can think about is that scene.
Exactly. Usually when you see a bar scene in a movie, you're like, oh my gosh, everyone's gonna be super sexual, and there's gonna be scary drunk people in here, but they're all just like dancing together to Elton John. That's Community. The pacing of the two weddings at one time was set up really well, because like the fun music is playing, and she's going back and forth in between. And Ziggy, can we give this man some appreciation? Because he's not a very good actor, but he's really funny.
He's iconic.
He's super, super funny. I like when she walks out of the work party and is like, and is like hitting stuff, and then turns, and all of a sudden it's like 50th anniversary party.
There's quite a few movies that I've seen of hers, and she has a scene like that in all of them. There's definitely one like that in Grey's Anatomy.
Because it's what Jesus would freaking do!
I love the scene where she tries on all of the bridesmaid dresses that she saved, which, by the way, the closet thing is super relatable. No one can close their closet. I can't close my closet. It's a disaster area. Anyway, it's just very early 2000s Trionathon core. When I think of like an early 2000s movie, I immediately think of the bestie helping the main character like put on makeup and like choose an outfit type scene, but this was was just done so well, and I love that they turned it into a little photo shoot, and it was just great.
The scene where she's driving fast and he's like, you need to slow down, we're gonna hydroplane. She's like,
You're not gonna hydroplane. You're hydroplaning!
that would be me.
We've all been that girl, yeah. I really like the scene where she guesses that he got left at the altar, and then they just decide to register Tess to get random stuff like a golden pig and a rooster umbrella holder.
The montage of her waiting for Tess to get home, like nervously pacing. That's me trying to
And
fall
talking
asleep.
to herself.
Yes.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
It's so very relatable.
Yeah, when you're trying to distract yourself from like thinking about something and you just try to do literally anything and everything to stop thinking about it.
I don't know if men do that.
Men don't think.
It's true.
I've seen a quote how women spend all their time thinking about what men might think of them more than men actually spend thinking
about them.
And I feel like that's
thinking in
really
general is
true.
funny.
Yeah.
Favorite quotes.
Love is patient, love is kind, love is slowly losing your mind.
What? The said up, it's up! What about you? You don't have any needs?
No, I don't. I'm Jesus.
If I have to write the words baby's breath one more time, I'm gonna shoot myself.
This is the rooster-shaped umbrella holder that will hold all of George's umbrellas.
I feel like I just found out my favorite love song was written about a sandwich.
I don't care if someone wants me to wear a funny dress. It's their day, not mine.
What is that?
Theme wedding.
What was the theme? Humiliation? How refreshing, a man who doesn't believe in marriage. Can you please find someone else to be creepy with?
Nope. You definitely wouldn't hurt me. I'm your sister.
That was yesterday. Today you're just some who broke my heart and cut up my mother's wedding dress.
Final thoughts.
I love the way they executed the enemies to lovers trope in this movie. Jane is a very relatable main character, and Tess is actually awful. I love the energy between Kevin and Jane and how he gets to know her, despite her frequent protests. And of course, the 27 dresses showing up at her wedding is an incredible full circle moment, and the lines were iconic. My final rating is 25 out of 27 dresses.
27 Dresses is a perfect movie. There is nothing bad about it besides like half of the characters, but they're like intended to be that way, so it actually makes sense. But anytime somebody says, what is the 2000s to you, this is the first movie I think of. It like fully encompasses all of the good things that the 2000s were about. And yeah, it has like stereotypical fashion montages, but it's actually made so well. The writers are genius. They picked the perfect cast for it. The chemistry was perfect. They tied up all of the loose ends, which I love, and I grew up on this movie. It's so good. 27 and a half out of 27 dresses. A party dress? That last half's a party dress.
The early 2000s is a whole vibe, and this movie is that vibe. This movie is so fun. If you're not laughing, you're screaming at Tess. So I'd say if you're feeling numb before you watch this movie will help you bring all those emotions to the surface. And I give this movie 26 dresses out of 27 dresses. Thank you for watching. Until next time.
Benny!
And God bless.
Roll credits!